Welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Cleaning Business Owner. Now, I'm Louise here with Diane, and Diane, I've got a big question for you. If I
Okay.
was starting my cleaning business, where would I find, or where should I find my first customers? And this is really for people that are starting out, just launched. How on earth is anyone supposed to know about you? So what's the first step? Where, if you were starting from scratch, as you have done in the past, what would you do?
I think nowadays, would I point them straight to Facebook as an example? I think it's the easy way to get started if you're just starting out with your marketing. But a Facebook page isn't a very effective marketing strategy, especially if you're just starting out. So it's not an easy question to answer without finding a little bit more about what sort of business you want to have, what sort of customers you want to attract, what's your experience, your contacts. Because I got my first customers from flyers, and they work really well now because nobody gets any post. So I might actually say go and leaflet those target market customers. So it kind of depends who you want to target, Louise.
Do you know where I got mine? Gumtree. I launched my
Of
business with
course,
Gumtree.
yes.
Who does Gumtree now? But I tell you, the replacement of Gumtree,
Next door.
next door. Yeah,
Yeah.
both of us are like next door. I would be going next door because you're personal, people trust you more, you get recommendations all over the place on next door. Saying that, I haven't been particularly successful on next door as finding any customers. And I've tried it a little bit, but I think we're a business and people want that personal connection on next door.
Yeah, I agree with you. We actually haven't had huge success on Nextdoor, but I know that I've coached people to use it who are solo cleaners just starting out or with a smaller team, and they have huge successes on it because it couldn't get any more local. And also it's not as noisy as Facebook. It's a quieter space and people are actively looking for recommendations, aren't they?
You're not bombarded by adverts, so you're talking to real people. But saying that, the Facebook groups, I mean, they are brilliant. And I've got to say, like I mentioned on the last one, that I was looking for a sign writer for a van. First place I went, my local Facebook group. Where do I find a sign writer? It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, and that's where people miss the trick in particularly Facebook is they think I'm just going to create a Facebook page. Great, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. They start posting and people say, oh, you need to post regularly. So they post loads, but nobody sees it because first of all, Facebook has algorithms and it won't let people see it unless it's already popular. But also, why would people find it? They're not necessarily searching for you particularly. So unless you called it cleaning leads, your Facebook page, they're not going to find you on Facebook. That's a good tip, actually, by the way. But if you go into Facebook groups, that's when you can build a local presence, isn't it? And become part of the local community and people buy from people. So that's a better use of Facebook than just creating a Facebook page.
Yeah, I'd be doing that. And a lot of people, we often don't get into cleaning because we like social media. We don't want our faces on social media. A lot of people don't want to sell their soul, tell you all about their family, their kids, what their lives are like. They just want cleaning jobs. Like, let's face it, just want a job here. I just want the people that are looking for a cleaner and they want to pay money for it. I just want to meet them. And I think that for a lot of people, they struggle to post regularly on a page, particularly if you're not even running a cleaning business yet. So you haven't even got any pictures. Um, so I would just be respond to people that are looking for cleaners, write them a message. People are actively looking for you. All they have to do is find you.
Yeah, and that's the key there, is that that's the being proactive. So posting on your page, it's lovely. It's sometimes a nice thing to do if you enjoy that sort of thing. But actually going into groups and like for instance, if you wanted somebody to do anything in your home, you might go to the local Facebook group and say, can anybody recommend a plumber? Well, if you know a good plumber that you've used, you could recommend a plumber. Don't just think about your own business, help other people, because that gets you known in your local area as a nice person that helps. And then when you do then respond about your cleaning business, hopefully people already have seen you post and you're not just there to spam the group about your business.
So do you know the other thing that I always say to do that worked, particularly when I first started, and it would work amazingly. In fact, I should be doing this, but I'm not doing enough of it. But anyway, so on Facebook, you see one business, the latest on-trend business is recommended all over the place, whoever the latest cleaner is. Now, if you want to be that one that's recommended all over the place, what you need is either a group of friends who are going to do that for you, or You literally can buy your way into this group of friends. Go to a local women in business networking or a local business networking, not your big ones like your BNI. Well, actually, that would work just as well, but a local networking with people that have maybe got startup companies. And I used to go, there was a brilliant one called Handbags and Briefcases, which was just a little local one for women in my local area. Now, because they're all starting businesses, they're all over social media, they're all in different sectors, and they are prepared to tag me every time something came up that was relevant to me, as long as I tagged them on
Yeah.
something that was relevant to them. And it's like they will do your marketing for you as long as you're prepared to do a bit for them as well. So it's a two-way thing, or in this case, it was about a 12-way thing. And you see people, their business just rockets based on that small network that are active on social media. So if you're prepared to put in the effort for them and they put it back for you, you all win.
Yeah, and that's a clever way of using networking. So you've got real life networking. And I always recommend, if you're going to be starting and running a domestic cleaning business, network with women because they're better at referring domestic cleaning than men. Sorry, guys, but they just are. So you've got your real life networking, we call it, in person, that then leaks into and influences the online networking, which is a brilliant use of it. Yeah, you can build those relationships and then help each other online. Absolutely great.
Yeah. And I always say, like, if you're going to go to a network event, don't just hand out your business cards. Sit and have a chat about, I don't care if you're into gardening, your dogs, your kids, your hobbies, if you're into baking sourdough, let's chat about that. I don't care. I'll chat about anything. But make a really good connection with one or two. If you can do three people, great, one or two. And if you were to do that over 6 weeks, you would really know all the movers and shakers in that group, and then they're all going to recommend you. And that is how you make a real difference. Don't just hand out flyers and think it's good. You have to make those deep connections.
And the other thing is well, think about what you want when you go to a networking event or meeting of any kind. You don't want to be pitched at, there's nothing worse, is there, than you turn up and somebody's trying to sell you something. Nobody likes that. So why would you do that to other people? And I get this with LinkedIn, when people connect with people on LinkedIn. And we know when somebody asks for a connection on LinkedIn, as an example, this is online networking again, that it's either going to go one of two ways. I'm either going to connect and maybe we might end up, with a slightly meaningful relationship online, shall we say, or they're just going to send me a message straight afterwards pitching and telling me what they do and can they help me and can they access my network. If you do that online, that's awful. But if you do it in person, it's worse because they've literally made the effort to leave the house, pay to go to something, and then all you've done is pitch at them. Nobody wants that, so don't do it. Yeah, you're right. It's about just get to know people because there's people behind these businesses, and that's how we can help each other, isn't it? By getting to know each other.
So there's a person, I'm not going to name and shame here. It's not in the cleaning industry, it's in my local area. And there's a person who I know, who I've known, we've actually cleaned for them. They've been a customer in the past, but he now works anyway, he works. And I meet him every time I walk the dogs, right? And I chat to him, and he's a nice enough guy, and we have a nice chat, and I'll often walk with him for 20 minutes. Every conversation ends with, we need to work together. We need to do that. And I'm like, no, we really don't. I really don't want to work with you because he's such a wheeler dealer. He's always coming up with new ways to make money. And he's been a director of about 20 different businesses. And I don't want to be involved in the nicest way because he's a nice guy. And I'm like, stop pitching at me. Like, just don't. I don't want to work with you because you keep pitching at me. I might consider working you if you stopped pitching at me.
Yeah,
But I
and it's
won't.
okay. If somebody says, "What do?" You can go, "I've got a cleaning business," and then they might ask you some questions about it. That's fine, but don't you spend the whole conversation telling them about how great your cleaning business is because nobody cares, and it's a really boring conversation for them. People like to talk about themselves. Remember that.
Do. They really do. Can I add another rant? This might get
Go
edited
on.
out.
It's a nice ranty podcast. We like those.
Okay. So have you ever noticed, and I don't know if this is just me, so when you run a cleaning business, you have to have a massive array of skills. So you have to be able to run a business, you have to manage, you have to be good with money, you have to be good with marketing. You have to do that, which means that if you get good at running a cleaning business, you could probably run other businesses. And we've seen some real success stories. People have then launched laundries and cafes, and they've gone into other industries. And what I find again and again and again is people come up and go, let me partner with you. I want to partner with you. And I'm like, right, so I know what I'm bringing to the table. You're just offering me money. You are bringing nothing to the table. You want all the skills it takes to run a cleaning business that I have spent decades perfecting here. And I feel like, and again, this is off the topic completely, isn't it? But a lot of people, especially when I started in the cleaning industry, they're like, right, will you come and work on telesales for me because you're really good on the phone? Will you come and do this? And I'm like, no, 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 and no. And I found that, and I still get it now because people want to partner on various things, and I'm not anti-partnering with people, but only if it's fair. I definitely found when I was new to the cleaning industry, my customers were constantly trying to poach me to do something else. Did you find this?
No, probably not actually. But what I found was the thing I hated. I mean, customers were slightly different, but what I found with when it came to actually in-person networking was that I didn't feel unless I'd chosen the right networking groups. If I went to a generic one, BNI, it was good for a while, but I inherited the seat, so that's kind of one of the reasons I stayed. And I used to be always on the top table, and that helped you got free membership in those days.
Like the chairperson.
Yeah, so when you did that, you got free membership. So it was worth doing. But I don't think they get free membership anymore. But what I found at sort of general, if you went to a big business networking thing, it was just full of people in suits and the response that I would get when I told them what I did was not entirely positive. And I just got a bit fed up of it. I mean, I was perfectly capable of holding my own. And sometimes I would just lie about what I did because I just got so bored of it because it was just that's you can do that as a business and it was maybe it was my confidence to start with, I don't know, but yeah, I never liked generic networking. I always went for quite targeted, and that's why, like I say, I always recommend now, if you want to go out networking, start with women groups because there might be smaller businesses, but there will probably be better referrers and you'll build better relationships. And then if you can then link that, like you said, to the online space, then that's a good use of it, isn't it? And you might make some friends as well, which is always good.
And this, do you know, like I've sort of said there, I went off on a rant saying people want to partner and they realize your skills. I think a lot of people, as you said, they look at it and they don't see it as a business. You're just, I hate this word, you're just a cleaner. You're just a cleaner. I'm what? And then obviously you might think that of yourself, but you have to quickly realize you need so much more than that. And you will develop all those skills, particularly as a DCBM member. You are going to develop every single one of those skills that you need to run a business and be a manager. And that's when they quickly realize, okay, do you know the other thing, right? And when I went in recruitment, we used to inevitably in recruitment work with bigger businesses, high salaried people. That's what we do. I was like a headhunter, I'd place them in there. And I couldn't believe I was working with IT developers at the time. This was a long time ago. And I couldn't believe the salaries there. And I was like, this is insane. And my manager always said to me, one day you will earn as much as those just by doing this. Just keep placing them and you will earn as much. And we got to the stage where we did that. And what I hadn't realized in cleaning is you clean these phenomenal homes. And I remember I still do go into them and I'm like jaw dropping, like, how does anyone live in these stunning houses? And what my manager said stuck with me. Keep doing what you're doing, keep mixing with these people, and you will earn as much as them. And it's really strange. It does happen, doesn't it? Like in recruitment, I earn as much as the people I was placing. And in cleaning, you will earn and can earn as much as the people you're cleaning for. And I don't think people realize that actually there is that scope and that potential.
Yeah, definitely. And I used to work in headhunting in the construction industry and probably similar because they were so in demand. I'm not talking bricklayers here, I'm talking site managers, construction managers, and that sort of thing. So yeah, they were on quite eye-watering salaries. We were tempting them away with, shall we say, because it was headhunting, literally a direct approach. But I suppose I never really felt that I couldn't achieve anything that I wanted to achieve. But it's good that you had somebody that would point that practical thing out to you and go, yeah, it's there. And I suppose that's what we do now as a DCBN, isn't it? Is that look at the potential in what you could create if you want to, or if you want to stay as a solo cleaner, we can help you earn more and make it more fun, hopefully.
And I think one of the things is you become like the people you mix with. And again, so this can be true of our clients. If you keep mixing with your clients, you will start to, if you keep chatting them, you will adopt their mentality and the kind of things they're doing and like the discounts they're getting, the holidays, your aspirations over time start to change. And you go, oh, okay, I'm connecting more with these people than maybe, I'm seeing a difference between how I'm interacting with them and my friends, and actually who am I? And you have that slight crisis of who you actually are, and as you evolve over time. But then you start to do things. You will find yourself decorating your houses in some of their styles. You become like them, don't you? If you weren't to begin with, you do become that. And either at some point you go, I feel so out of place, I'm not going to stick with this, or you do adjust. And I think it's interesting where you want to be and what you want to do with your life. Do you want a house like them? Is that what we're aspiring for? Because I think it is possible. And
And
also,
do you think also with our DCBN community, that's part of why that works so well, is that it's not, I'm not talking about aspiring to be like other members, although that can happen. It's more actually that we're mixing with people with a certain mindset and perhaps a more open mindset. And yeah, that we do want to build better businesses, whether that's with a team or solo, because a lot of our members are solo cleaners.
you see this. Obviously, we run lots of Facebook groups, and the more open the Facebook group is, what you see is the answers are very, very get rid of that customer, do that, like you're in the right. And it's almost like the people answering the questions just want to be liked, and they're answering it based on their perception of what they've done, which quite often isn't as much maybe as DCBM members. And you go into the members group, you aren't going to get that customer's wrong. It's no, this is what you need to do to sort that out. Actually, and you're going to get really constructive advice from people that will reach out to you as well. And I know in the DCBM members group, people do reach out more. They're not going to contact someone in a group with 40,000 people. But when you're in a group with only 300, then you'll get that one-on-one message and you'll actually get some personal attention. So but for me, one of the reasons I wish the DCBM was around when I first started, I had nothing to aspire to. There was no big domestic cleaning business. I
No.
didn't know what was possible to achieve. Like, how was I meant to go out and copy and be the best and outperform everyone else if I didn't know what they were doing? It was impossible. Whereas
Yeah, the
now,
only ones that I saw as big businesses were sort of, the big franchises. And I sort of probably thought, wow, they're big. There's obviously a big international franchise, isn't there? And I'd sort of seen that and thought, that's who I aspire to. And then I met the owner of one of those franchises who I think at the time I had about 15 staff, they had 10. They had the same challenges I had. And I was just like, they're not this massive business. They're just a group of small businesses just like mine. And in fact, I was already probably outperforming. So yeah, it was difficult back then, wasn't it, to have anybody to share this with or to learn from or to aspire to, if that's what rocks your boat as well.
yeah, and I was lonely. I remember when I started, there were no business owners to help me, and it's something as simple as my staff lied, filled in wrong the times on their timesheet, or they left a job early. What do you do about it? What I just wanted to know what to do about it. There was nowhere to turn. Who do you ask? Um, and I really struggled with that. And yes, I can solve the problem myself, but it's so much brain capacity. Like as business owners, we solve problems, but sometimes it'd be better if someone else could solve my problem and I just implemented it.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
going
I
back to
wanted.
what we're meant to be talking about on our podcast about marketing for finding your first customers, I suppose, does this come down to, we've talked a little bit there about business and what we love about it, and we talked about networking as a really good way of marketing. Does it just come to actually deciding first what business you want and who you want to mix with then?
I'd keep it really simple. I'd do four things if I was starting a business. I'd get on Nextdoor. I'd be on Facebook groups. I would do networking, and I would also flyer a few flyers. Just get them printed on your home computer. Just flyer on the streets that I wanted to work on. And they're the four things I do. If you did that consistently for a month, it would work.
Yeah.
Guaranteed in every area, in every business. We can talk you through more advanced methods. We can talk you through how to do it. But most of you know how to leaflet. Most of you know how to get on Nextdoor, go to a networking event. It works in every area, at every price point, in every business, in every speciality. Just do it.
Yeah. And the reality is, if you're just starting out, you do all those four things in your first month, you will fill your diary in a couple of months. And then obviously it might be then you're like, okay, I want to turn this into a business now. That's longer term. Then, yeah, you're right. Then it gets more complicated. But four strategies, that's a really good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, I literally wouldn't do anything else. Why waste your time? Do those four well. Yes, you can have a website, but that takes time to create the content and the text on it and stuff. And then you've got to do SEO and it's got to be found. Leafleting works far faster. Social media works faster. If you're launching a business, you don't know how successful it's going to be. You don't know how it's going to work. So just get out there. And none of these cost any money. I think leafleting will cost you a tiny bit, but
Yeah, but
and you're
printing
not
is
doing
really
anything
cheap
else.
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you've got space for a 3 hour clean, go out and leaflet. But if you want to talk to people, talk to them. Every customer that you talk to will either recommend you or want you themselves, especially if you're not charging a lot. Knock on a door, tell them what you do. I'm launching in this area. May I just hand you a leaflet? Do you know anyone that is looking for a cleaner? You could say that or anything, but talk to people. Like
I
it's really
agree.
easy. There is more demand in the UK for cleaners than we can fill.
Yeah. And if it helps, we
So
often
yeah,
run marketing challenges, don't we? 5-day marketing challenges. We've run the free and low cost marketing strategies masterclass a few times, free for non-members, haven't we? So check out the DCBN as well in terms of a little bit of extra help. But you're right, next door, Facebook groups, networking, and flyering. That's all you need to get started.
Diane, given that you and I don't do any of those things anymore, both of us openly admit a website, pound for pound, delivers above any of those. When you look at the effort, like zero effort now goes into my website and it just keeps delivering. So that's why I moved away from those methods. But do you think we should do those things, flyering?
My team still sometimes flyer, but not at this time of year, and only if we've got gaps, which we very rarely have.
So, okay, so that's why we don't, because pound for pound, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And that's why I said, once you get to the point of you've filled your diary, then you can look at other ways of doing it. But those four key strategies when you're first starting out are the best ones to definitely try to start with and take it from there, and good luck.
Good luck, everybody. And if you need any more help, please get in contact.